Hey guys, it's Sid.
I'm Mike.
My name is Parker, and this is the Try Hard Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second edition of the Kona podcast. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Parker's training thus far in Kona. He just did a swim race in Kona, and then we'll talk a little bit about Seid's bike excursions and his technical difficulties he runs into every time he happens to bike with Jake. So, uh, Parker, you want to start us off and talk about your swim?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Parker,
So,
actually, Parker, before your swim, do you want to talk to us about your last brick? That was before the swim race? No.
yes, correct. Yeah. So,
Let's talk
I,
about the brick. I thought that brick was huge.
yeah,
Like,
no, that went actually really well. So, let's see. Mike left on Friday night, and then Saturday, I had kind of my last semi pretty hard session. It was a 2 hour, 45-minute ride, some tempo threshold work in there. Felt really good. Felt the strongest I've felt in the bike yet. Finally got a positive performance condition on the Garmin, which was nice to see. Finally getting acclimated to the heat. But the workout, it was 2 by 12, I think, 2 by 8, or 2 by 12, 2 by 10, and 2 by 8 at kind of threshold intensity sweet spot. Pushed it a little bit. Felt super strong though. It was a nice day too. Wasn't too windy, which was very, very nice. I had some people asking me, do you have like a goal bike split? And I was telling them honestly, I think I could average 23 miles an hour on the bike or 25. It just completely depends on the wind and which way it's blowing. But felt super strong, happy with how that felt. And then right after that, I had a what was it? It was about a 40-minute runoff, 5 miles, just over 5 miles. And I put the carbons on for only the second time ever I've worn these, the new Nike Alpha Fly 3s. They felt great. I was going uphill on a slight uphill, 6:30, 6:35 pace, and heart rate was right around 150. And then when I turned it around, I was going 6:10 pace or so, felt just as strong. So everything seems to be coming together good, at least training. Now I just got to put it on the line on race day. But that kind of wrapped it up on Saturday. I was supposed to go out and swim. I actually did try and swim, but I don't think well, I know I didn't have enough salt on the brick. And so I got about, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes out maybe in the open water. And I started to experience some of the worst cramps I've ever experienced on my hamstring. So I decided to turn around because I was worried I was going to drown out there. And actually, as I was walking up the beach, I had to lay down, like face down, kind of like in like a plank position almost for like a minute just because my legs are cramping so bad. It was like having a seizure. It was so painful. But lesson definitely learned not to skimp on the sodium intake during the break sessions. But yeah,
like
that's much.
Jason West this weekend at Las Vegas. He was like parallel on the floor, like stretching out his
Oh,
core,
I saw
and
that.
then still kept running. What a beast!
Yeah,
Finally
he had
finished
one
top
of his
five.
best races yet, right?
Yeah, he came fifth, which was like huge for him.
He beat Sam Long, didn't he, by a few seconds?
Yep, he did. Yep.
That's huge. Yeah, no, hopefully that doesn't happen to me on the actual race day. But But then yeah, Sunday we well actually then I had to move houses or apartments rather on Saturday, and I was out and about a little later, and I didn't sleep too well Saturday night. But woke up Sunday at 5:40 or so, and then we went to the swim start. And I guess they do this every year. I think a week before the actual swim or the race, the Ironman race, they have it's a swim race. So you do the swim, except you don't start where you start the Ironman swim. You actually start on the beach for the swim race, whereas in the Ironman you start in the water. And
Mm.
so they kind of screwed us up because you started and then you had to take like a sharp left almost to the first buoy, and then you can kind of go straight. And I didn't realize that. So I was kind of swimming straight. And then I saw the buoy all the way to the left. And then so I almost kind of like swam back a little bit so I could get on course. And since I got to the race start a bit late, and so I was way in the back, and I pretty much swam the entire swim by myself, except for the last 700 yards or so. And I was actually surprised at how fast we went out. The going out was so much faster than coming back in. And I was looking at the splits. I would have PR'd my 70.3 swim in this race if it was a 70.3. I averaged, I think, like a 133 pace for the first 500, then a 126, then a 120, and then a 119. And it felt super comfortable. And it was not a wetsuit. I wore my tri suit and my swim skin though, just to replicate as closely as I could to the actual race conditions. And I felt great. But then coming back, it was a lot slower. I was like 140, 145 pace. And then finally I found some feet to swim off of with about 700 yards left. And then I was able to pick it up. It was interesting. Not only did drafting help like physically, like actually having someone to draft off of, but also just mentally. Because I found that I was just able to like almost push myself more. Like I just felt stronger when I knew someone was right in front of me that like sit behind. So that helped a lot, just mentally and physically. And so I went from literally swimming a 150 pace to right around a 130 pace, just by having someone to draft off of. And the effort felt relatively the same. And so I think the key, I know I can, if I find good feet, I can swim under an hour at the on the race day. But it's all going to come down to finding good feet and the way and the current, how wavy it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's huge. I think that's a big confidence boost, right? So like not even going out as hard as you wanted, it felt like easy, and then seeing the drafting effect and all that. I think also just practicing what it's going to feel like race day. I think that's pretty huge.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm pretty happy with how the swim is feeling. Definitely open water. I know in the past it was actually funny, and during the swim, I was actually thinking of what you were saying after Ironman Maryland and how you were just kind of swimming to swim it versus like racing it. And
Mm.
the mind shift I had, the mindset shift I had from when I wasn't drafting, when I was drafting, it kind of felt like when I wasn't drafting and I was just swimming, I'm like, oh, I'm just swimming. But as soon as I found feet and I was like with the pack, I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is a race now. Like we gotta go. And so that was interesting too. I noticed that just that mental mindset change as well. So I got to make
Yeah.
sure I'm, in the right headspace. But yeah, that pretty much wrapped up Sunday, and then we had an easy run Sunday afternoon, nothing crazy, but felt pretty good.
And then did you do anything today, or just a little
Just a
recovery, I'm assuming?
easy spin and easy swim today. Actually, if you guys have listened to the podcast before, Todd has been on, Todd Girardelli, and practiced drafting off of him. And he says he likes to draft more on the hips. I'm not sure, Mike or Seid, if you guys have tried this before, but the difference between drafting off the hips versus drafting off the feet. Have you guys noticed any difference?
Uh,
For me, I'll let Mike go, but for me personally, as I said, I've never done an Ironman race, swim where I thought I was racing, so that was not ever in my thought process. But I'll definitely keep my mind out next time. What about you, Mike?
I feel like it kind of depends on the swimming conditions. In Lake Placid, I was able to, in some instances, stay right on someone's feet, and that like being like a pretty flat, non-wavy swim, I think that helps being on the feet rather than the hip. But I think like similar to how in cycling, sometimes it's not always the best to be right on behind someone's wheel, depending on the wind direction. Like if the wind's coming
Mm.
at diagonally, sometimes it's better being like um past their front wheel, but just to the left of them if the wind is coming in from the right diagonally. So maybe similar in swimming. I know when we were swimming there in Kona, it felt like the waves were coming in from when you were heading out, it felt like the waves are coming in from the right. So every time I breathed to the right side, I always felt like I had to like time my breaths and my stroke to the waves. Whereas when we were coming back, it felt like I was just kind of riding on the waves. So on the way out, if I let Parker stay on my right side and I stayed right on his hip, that probably would have helped maybe cut through the waves or like not have to worry as much about like timing my stroke.
I just found for me personally, I wasn't even thinking about the wave direction, but I could see how that could play a huge role. But I found for me, it's easier to stay on the draft when I'm behind someone's feet, just because, especially if they're a strong kicker, because then they have those bubbles and you can really feel it, and you can also see it as well, which I find to help a lot. But anyway, as I was saying, or what I was saying was that Todd and we swam. I practiced drafting off of his feet for a bit, and then off of his hip, and yeah, I found that staying on the feet was just easier for me. But he was saying for him, he likes to stay on people's hips, so. Yeah, that's what I was just wondering if you guys have tried either. But yeah, pretty easy day. And then it's weird, like every day I'm done training earlier and earlier. I know when Mike was out here, we were saying like it's like we'd be done like the first day we were training till like 4 and then 3, and then by the time he left, like, oh, 1 o'clock and we're already done. And tomorrow I'm gonna be done by 9. I have a swim at 7, a run workout right after at 8, and then literally by 9 o'clock I'm gonna be done training. So it's the training volume is definitely being reduced by quite a bit, and it's nice. I get the rest of the day pretty much open to just relaxing out, walk around the city. And also, as soon as Mike left, actually on Saturday and Sunday, they closed off the road, the kind of the main portion of the road by the swim pier, by the swim start, and we thought it was going to be closed off for the entire race week, but they reopened it at the beginning of the weekend. So, but yeah, the Ironman Village is starting to be built. You can see the tents going up everywhere, so it's getting real now.
Yeah, so when's check-in and all that? So when do you get to officially check in and get all the goods?
Yeah, so check-in I think is pretty much Tuesday to Thursday you can check in. And then one more. I did see Christian and Gustav twice today on the bike. In other directions. I saw them. Yeah, it's there. The thing I noticed so much, Gustav especially, how low, like how close his face is to the water bottle. It's like they're like touching each other. Like he just rests his chin on his bottle.
Speaking of which, have you guys seen Gustav's new setup?
He got another new one.
He's got a new special setup. It's like a hidden secret. Ezra just sent me a picture of it. I think it was in the Santerra Tech video. Any guesses on what it is?
A bottle? Some type of
Yeah.
bottle?
It's a bottle between the arms, but at the end of his arrow cups, if he's like this, and there's a thing that comes up like this on each arrow cup that has bottle cages.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
having the
Kind of like a Joe
bottle like
Skipper type thing.
and instead of having the bottle between your arm like this, he's got two of them that are like behind his elbow, but in front of his chest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And Ezra and I chatted about it briefly, and like it's kind of dangerous. Like it's most likely more dangerous than putting a bottle down your kit, which is part of the reason why Iron Man said they banned the bottle down the kit.
I think the new fairings, like the carbon pieces, are basically just like a stick on the top of your frame. I feel like that's even more dangerous than at least a lot of the like Ari Klau's water bottle holder. I feel like you crash, that's going right into your chest. That looks
Oh
horrible.
yeah. Yeah. His is crazy how high that is. I think he just didn't want to cut the what is that? The seat post or whatever that comes all the way up or
Mhm.
the stack there. Because before that he turned that into a bottle mount. It didn't used to be like that. That was just because he smashed the front end all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I wonder, and the Christian doesn't have that setup, it's just Gustav.
In the video it was just Gustav.
That's interesting.
Christian rocking one bottle from what I've seen.
Huh. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm playing it. I'm looking at the video right now, see if I can find it. But
And Parker, I was just gonna ask, did you have you seen the coffee boat yet? I heard like you're still
no,
not
so
boat.
we were gonna swim out it. We were gonna swim out there today, and it was out there this morning. But by the time we started swimming, it wasn't there anymore. So I think
Okay.
yeah,
Like a morning thing.
yeah, I think it's early morning. But we were thinking it must be free coffee because otherwise I don't know how you'd pay for it.
I think it is. I think I saw a picture and it's just like cups and then it just It's like one of those big like dispensers where you just like pour it in. So I think it probably is free.
Oh, yeah, no, we wanted to go out there, but yeah, it was not there anymore. Maybe I know tomorrow we have a swim workout with like a sailfish team. One of the
Mhm.
the sailfish team, so that should be fun. It's like an open water fart lake, and then yeah, 4 by 3 minutes on the run, kind of at threshold speed, about 50 minutes total. And then Wednesday, I actually dropped my bike off today to get worked on. Got a new ceramic speed chain installed, and then Wednesday will be our last bike workout, 2 hours. And then Thursday is pretty much off, just a 20-minute swim. And then I have an hour easy spin and a 30-minute run off on Friday, the day before the race.
So you're on Thursday, you're not going to the underpants run?
No, I think I'll go. I think Todd is. I'm not gonna do that
Nice.
though.
Okay.
I thought it was post race. If it was post race, I would have gone, but I don't think I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, I should definitely go. But I think that's like one of the iconic parts of Kona, just to watch
Yeah.
that. It's pretty cool. It's like a fundraising thing. So a lot of people that don't race tend to do it, like family members and stuff. I think it's a 5K or 1 or 2 miles. I'm not too sure.
I want to go see. I know Bob Babbitt is recording episodes every morning at 8 a.m. at the pier. So I want to go out and watch or meet, some of the athletes he records with later this week. So we'll see. Maybe
Nice.
on Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, I've been listening to those. He's a good. I met it. He's such a nice guy. He really is. Yeah, nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it for race week. I don't know anything else you guys want to know.
Um, I guess the listeners, do you have your nutrition strategy dialed down fully, or do you want to share that before, or do you want
Yeah,
to?
I guess I can talk about that. We're also gonna be posting a video on my entire bike setup on, I think that video goes live Thursday or Friday. That might help me film and
Nice.
walk through it as well. So if you guys want to check out the YouTube channel for that. But nutrition wise, the swim, I'm gonna have, I think, two full bottles of water sitting next to me in T1 because it's so salty. Literally after the training or the swim race, I downed two bottles full of water, and I was still thirsty. So I'm gonna have that. Probably one bottle with water and one just with electrolytes. I'm not gonna put any carbs in there. I'll probably have a gel coming out of P1 just so I can get it down right away. And then on the bike, I'm going to have 3 bottles and my arrow bottle on the bike. And the plan is to go through the first 3 bottles up to Javi. So that's about, I'm going to put 80 grams of carbs in each because it won't take me 3 hours to get all the way up to Javi. At least it better not take me 3 hours to get to Javi. If it does, then we're in for a long day. But I have 3 bottles of 80 grams of carbs in each to get me to Javi. And then after I turn around from Javi, I am going to my my fluids are going to be coming from the course itself. So I'm just going to be picking up water bottles. And then my nutrition or carb intake is going to be coming. I'm going to put 2 hours worth of carbs in the arrow bottle on my down tube. And then I'll have another hour worth of gels or carbs in gel form. So I'll take extra just in case, but I'll probably take 200 grams of carbs worth of gels, and then I'll have another 200 grams of carbs in the down tube on my arrow bottle.
So then no special needs.
No, I was thinking about stopping for special needs, but I heard from a few racers that it's right around the turnaround at Javi, so it's kind of at a tricky point too. It is sometimes a hit or miss if you get it, and I just don't want to risk it. I will put a bottle there just in case I lose something during the first half of the bike, but I don't plan on stopping there. For the run, however, I will stop at special needs. I'm having the nerd belt, and I have 4 300 milliliter bottles, and so I'm gonna have 2 on me to start, and then I'll pick up 2 halfway. And I think I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna put carbs in the nerd bottles or if I think I'm just gonna put sodium, sodium, and then have gels with me for the run, just so I know exactly how many grams of carbs I'm getting. And the goal for the run is just going to be I'm going to have the 50-gram carb gels and just take one of those every 30 minutes. So 100 grams of carbs per hour. It's a little high, but I think I've done that in training before, and I've done it while out here on some of my big run workouts, and I haven't had any issues so far. So as long as I can stay on top of that and hydration, hopefully I should be good to go.
And then in T2, are you gonna do the Jameson special with the 100 gram carbs, or what
I
do you
think
think about
I'll definitely put a gel there, but I don't think I'm actually gonna put a bottle there just because I've tried in the past few races I've done, I've found that chugging a whole bottle, or not a whole bottle, but chugging like a bottle with carbs and sodium right after the bike, I've just been a bit like I started cramping a little bit, and I think just because my stomach gets too full. So what I'll probably actually do is I'll have a bottle there for water if I need more coming out, but then electrolyte and carb wise, I'm just gonna have a gel because that way I still get the calories and the carbs, but without the added volume in the stomach. And I already know I'm gonna be pretty bloated by then. So I think just 50-gram carb. I'll probably have two gels there waiting for me. And then depending on how fast I've gone on the bike and how well I feel, I'll take one or two
Nice.
during the run. Yeah. So yeah, I think Alpha 5s are ready to go. Felt good. And I just hope
The Omius, right? You have the headband, or what do you have?
I don't have it with me, but I got a new Raw special Omius headband.
Oh, are there any extra of those?
I can check. I'll check if there are.
Check. I'll like pay for one of those.
All right, I'll see.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I broke one of the
Wait a
cinder
second,
blocks transporting it or moving it, but I've just one, so we're good.
Well, you got one, Mike? Is that what you said?
No, I second that statement. As you said, Seid, I will purchase one.
Yeah, I'll purchase one as well.
Well, after this podcast, I'm gonna go help set up the Raw Expo at the village, so maybe I can cop one.
Wait, is it the one kind of like the Red Bull one where it goes over the
Here,
thing?
if you're in the other room, I'll be back in like a second.
All
Grab
right.
it.
So,
I'm a sucker for all things merch, branding, and everything like that.
also, Seid, look at my Strava when you have a chance.
Oh, I will. Let's see.
I have it right
I
here.
today I tried the new raw gel that
Oh, you
Parker
did?
So this is the
Parker.
old one. So that's the
Yep.
old one. And then this is the new one.
Oh,
no.
that is sweet. That is
look-
nice.
Except, as I said, one of the cinder blocks, this one, I broke it when I was moving the blocks over, but it was just one, so we're still good.
Yeah, you're fine. Sam Long has like 4 or 5 broken. It's all good.
Didn't Sam Long wear like inside out one race at Singapore?
Yeah, and then they do it's like they just fall out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny. But Mike, you tried the gel?
I did try the gel on my
What'd you
bike
think?
today, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Really? What's the
It's
consistency like? Is it like Morton, SIS?
no, it's not like, I mean, nothing's like Morton that I've
Yeah.
tried. Morton's like almost like eating a Jello shot. But
Your favorite?
it's probably close to, it's like an SIS gel, but maybe a little thicker.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right. It's kind of like
nice.
a thicker version of SIS. It's like in between, like a kind of like a goo and an SIS, kind of like in between.
Kind of like
Yeah.
an SIS beta fuel, I would say, then, Mike, huh?
A little bit. I only have the SIS beta fuels, so those, I would say it's thicker than that.
Oh, okay.
The isotonic ones, those ones are more liquidy. But it was good. It's like it's just a natural flavor, which is what I prefer in a gel. I don't really like the flavored gels unless it's a SIS nootropics gel. I think it's solid. I'm excited for that gel when they release that. That will probably be up there with I usually cycle between Precision Gel and SIS, and
It's
I
kind of
would
like a
say
precision consistency, isn't it?
similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
very similar. I'm sure the final product will be similar.
Yeah.
So
And then-
I'm excited.
They also have the unflavored raw as well, or do you have that, Parker? Is that
Yeah.
where you with?
Yeah, Mike tried. So how do you like that too, right? It's
do
similar
like
to the
that.
gel.
Similar to the gel. It's probably closer to like a Morton, but with more sodium.
Ooh, delicious.
Which is good. It's not like Precision Fuel and Hydration one is more citrusy.
Mm.
I would say the closest that I've tried that compares to it is probably like a Morton.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that. I'm gonna definitely like that flavor, I think.
And that would be
I
good to mix kind of like half and half with like an orange or a lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be good. Actually, that would be great because that's one of the things I like the orange and the lemon lime I probably like more, but I notice the higher carb, the stronger that flavor profile is, and I get flavor fatigue from some of that stuff. So I think the raw like the natural flavor will be more of a go-to for me.
Yeah. I think in my arrow bottle where I'm gonna like concentrate it, I'm gonna probably do 4 scoops of raw orange and 4 scoops of the unflavored raw. Just so it's not super concentrated with flavor.
Nice.
Yeah. But I think that's
So yeah,
pretty
I
much
think
it.
that's pretty much it for Kona. So I saw Matthew Marquardt's doing spending his time making some Lego. How are
I
you
saw him on
spending?
the run. It's so easy to spot him. Oh my god. It is like you can spot him from like 2 miles away on the run. It's like he's like he has like a more distinct running form than Lionel, I think. I think it's easier to spot
Yeah.
him than Lionel. He's like
Yeah.
smashing.
Yeah. So
Uh,
how are you gonna spend your time with these like slower days? You said, are you gonna just explore the town, try to rest up, or what are you doing?
yeah, honestly, and this I'll probably and now that I'm done kind of filming and editing YouTube videos too, I mean that's like 2 hours a day of free time right there. So no, not really filming much, not really training much. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Probably just go for some walks, try to relax as much as possible, watch the Lionel vlogs, film fast video reviews with mom. That's about it. My sister comes in on Friday, which will be nice. That'll be fun to see her and her friend. But oh, and actually, we're going out to Omakase on Saturday night after the race.
Hmm.
She picked the restaurant around here that we're going to go to, so that's gonna
That'd be
be fun for sushi. But yeah, I don't know.
And
Yeah,
did your dad come in yet, or is he coming later this week?
yeah, no, my dad's here too. Yeah, dad's here hanging out. Where he actually they went to my mom and dad went to the gym today. They swam. My dad swam 600 yards or 800.
nice.
So no, it was
Is he
fun.
faster than you?
No. I had to call the lifeguard to get them on ground alert. Yeah.
How's the new Airbnb? How does it
Good.
compare to the
It's
one
nice.
we
The
had?
air conditioning isn't as strong, but it's still cold enough, and I got my 8 sleep, so
Good.
sleeping good. We're actually in a really nice part. There's a beach a little way, so I'll probably go to the walk to the beach. There's a pool to hang out at, so the local community pool, splash
Nice.
around. But it's nice. It's about like a 13 to 14 minute drive in the opposite direction from the energy lab. So we're right around, we're like half a mile away or a mile away from the turnaround point on the run, in the opposite direction of the energy lab. So that's actually where the run workout is tomorrow.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Feeling heat acclimated? You
Yeah.
good?
Yeah. Feeling the heat really hasn't been impacting me too much. Although today was I cut out caffeine during taper the last week, and today was the first day without caffeine, and I feel it.
Have the headaches started?
That's why I have a little bit of a headache right now, but nothing bad. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that by Wednesday, and I still felt semi decent on the ride today. So that's how I know that we're in a semi good place. If I can ride and swim and not feel like death without caffeine. So yeah, but just not having a monster Red Bull to look forward to in the morning first thing is rough. Yeah, but you want to
So
talk
Sid,
about Sade?
yeah,
Sure, I guess.
Yeah, tell us
yeah,
about your this is turning into a weekly segment. States.
So recently, I just been starting to ride with Jake more. So Jake's embracing the outdoor riding and training on Saturdays, which is the best in my opinion. So as I said, I mentioned previously on the podcast, I do Tuesday, Thursdays where I do like my hard, intense bike workouts, and then Saturday I just go out for time. Don't really care for intervals or anything, just like long, steady. I'd say like zone two ish rides. And so I went the past 2 times I went with Jake. 2 weeks ago, I had my massive crash with Jake, and then this time, Jake found this great route, and it had maybe what I think six pretty big climbs, and one of those six is like a really long, steady one, but everything else is just really like punchy hills that are like miserable. So the first one that was really hard was I think it was 22% grade for a solid 5 minutes straight. So I think it was close to half a mile at like 22% grade, and it was just miserable. And at the top of that, I was like, oh, I was like that is definitely pretty tough. And so going up that climb, like I would have to be standing and zigzagging. So it was just like miserable. And then I would go onto the seat a little bit. And then after that climb, I realized my seat pose is just like I'm like pedaling, like I go up and down both legs. And I realize, like, why is my like butt shaking left and right? And I realize my like saddle's going left and right, up and down, and then I like get off, and then it starts sliding off, and it slid off. I tighten it quickly, um, before Jake comes to see it like falling off, and then I was like, okay, let's see if I can keep riding with it. And then I was like, yeah, I definitely can't ride with it. Stop again. Me and Jake like half-ass like fix it. But then the main screw that was, so there's like two screws at the top of your saddle that you just have to like screw tightly. So we could get one tightened, but the other one is right behind my X-wing. So there's like no way to like get it without taking out the whole like bottle like holder in the back. So I
You
was like,
gotta get
okay,
a
let's just
Woe saddle.
I know I do.
It's so nice. It is a nice saddle. It's I know it's expensive, but it's a nice saddle.
Yeah, I was telling Mike I'm gonna get it with my new bike, and I'm not putting any more money on this old one. But yeah, so we go up again, and then I was like, okay, we tightened it, and it was like fine. But then after another climb, it was just like, yeah, this is done. So like we were like, okay, let's just stop. And then we stopped for a solid like 45 minutes, got the X-wing off, tightened everything, and then finished the climb. So yeah, that was third ride with Jake where something went wrong. And what was the first one? Yeah, the first one was massive flat tire, and we just couldn't even fix it. And then
Crashed.
How about,
yeah,
well,
and then
yeah,
crash, and then this. But the other
left,
thing is, Jake
uh,
finds amazing routes. Every time we ride together, the route is beautiful. Everything is going great. And I'm like, oh, I love it. This is such a great ride. And in the back of my head, I'm also like, well, what's going to go wrong? I know something's going to go wrong. And then in the middle of this one was like right in the middle of the ride. I'm like, oh, of course something happened again. Just such bad juju with Jake. So hopefully we end that curse soon. So
there
we're
was
taking
another
a break this
time that
weekend for Kona, but after we're gonna hopefully break the curse.
there was another time you forgot to charge your Di2 or something. It went dead
Oh,
when you started the
yep.
ride with him. It's
Four
like
for four.
literally
Exactly. Look at this.
you've hit everything with him.
Yep, every single time. That time I didn't even count because I couldn't like I planned to ride with him. I get there, can't even ride with him because my DI2 is dead. So yeah, 4 for 4 with Jake. Hopefully better on the fifth attempt.
Speaking of bike tech or bike difficulties, remember how when I was packing my bike up for Kona, I couldn't get my aero cups off, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to like take the whole cockpit apart or like off to put it to ship it. So I put it back on, and I was like, maybe I just wasn't doing something right, but I was like, let me see if I can unscrew the screws in my aero cups because that's what wouldn't allow it to come out. And I also tried WD-40 to try and like loosen the bolts because what's happened is I've sweat and that sweat has got in with the screw and it's like seized up. They were not overly tight. Like I did not go too tight with them. And they're just totally stuck. Only one of the six screws came out. So I'm gonna have to do what I think I was gonna do before I got a replacement part the last time I did this. And I'm gonna have to take it's a rotary drill and drill down the bolt to make it like a Phillips head or a flathead and then turn it that way and just use and get new I have new bolts for it because I've got a ton of bike parts, but yeah, I can't get them out. I tried for the life of me today and I just made it worse and stripped all the screws. So I have no solution, and that's like the only thing that I know for a fact works like every time. So just hoping that I don't actually cut the arrow cups. I have to be very delicate with that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, with the bike tech, I went to the bike shop yesterday to fix my saddle, and there's like the pieces that hold the saddle onto I guess the stem of the bike. It just that piece was so corroded that it was so bad. It was like complete like there's like a safety lock on this part, but it's like so corroded that the safety lock was broken, and that's why it slipped off. I was like, oh my God, this is all for my indoor riding. So I got all that replaced as well.
Yeah. That's something, and I know Parker, you have done a lot of indoor riding, but not necessarily on your tri bike. So like
That's
your
why I
tri bike.
didn't. That's exactly why.
Yeah. And one thing for listeners, I think like taking care of your bike after indoor riding is pretty important. Like it's something that I think is easily forgotten. Like you just get off your bike when you're done with your session and like maybe you don't think about it or like and like you see in the background, Said's got a towel over his aero bars and his base bar. Like I do the same thing, and even from that, these screws like are stuck. One thing I also looked at was the company that I got the aero cups for recommended a 4 Newton meters to like torque them down to. But then I looked at Canyon's website today and I looked at the exploded drawing of the bike and it says don't do more than 2.5 Newton meters. So I think I probably didn't follow that. I went to the spec of what Rad Sport said, did 4 Newton meters, combine that with the salt getting in there, and it's just like they're just totally stuck. And I also read today that another thing is on something like that where like you may need to move the aero cups if you need to travel with it to break it down or if you want to change your position you can use like an anti-seize compound on the screws and that will help prevent things from like rusting or from seizing up.
There you guys go. I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. If you guys want us to cover something specific in the post-race episode, because that will probably be what's next, then just shoot us a message on Instagram or YouTube. Feel free to comment down below. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. And yeah, I think we may have time for one more pre-race, maybe like right before the race, just hop on. But if not, we'll see you guys see you guys after.
I'll see you with the Parker debrief.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Try Hard podcast. If you enjoyed it, we'd appreciate it if you could share with others and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can either DM us on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube, or message us through the Spotify app. Lastly, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this week's episode, the Naperville Acupuncture Center. If you ever find yourself in the Chicagoland area and are dealing with some aches and pains, I cannot recommend Frank and Angela enough. They do an amazing job over there, and I promise you will leave feeling so much better. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you guys back here next week.